On another beautiful day, on another trip down the Florida Keys a couple of years ago, my wife Anita and I posted a video slideshow called 28 Florida Keys Bars in 6 Days. This trip, our bar hopping itinerary is going to be a bit less ambitious, and we're going to take our time visiting waterfront saloons that we didn't have time to hit in our previous 6 days, and spend more time revisiting our favorite dives in Key West. It is the first week in December right now, and we like the Keys now because it's between the holiday crush of northerners escaping the cold at Thanksgiving and Christmas, but also a time when Key West is still decked out in its Christmas red and green. So again, you're welcome to come along with us. The beach where I was just standing was at uber-popular Lorelei on Isla Morada, but we didn't linger because it's on our hit list for when we climb back up the Keys later this week. So down we go to Marathon. With only one road to follow heading south, it's hard to get lost, but the first stop is a little bit tricky because it's off the beaten track on a series of canals on the ocean side of Marathon, where fishing and crayfish boats are docked. Guy Fieri found it easily enough to feature on his diners, drive-ins, and dives. We stop a mile short of the 7-mile bridge and veer left at mile marker 48 at 15th Street and head down 15th Street to where it curves into Castaway. No need to take notes on mile marker numbers. I'll include them at the end and in the YouTube video notes. Since the outdoor bar has no water view, we moved inside. Canals are carved into the Atlantic side of Marathon for the boats, and Castaway resides alongside one of them, surrounded by brightly colored trailer homes. Neighbors include thirsty manatees.
There it goes.
There is fairly conspicuous evidence that the owner has connections to submarines, owing to a former career in the Navy. There are 56 beers on tap, and the cuisine is elevated above that of your typical Keys joint. Just caught local fish, Baja tacos with black and yellow jack, lobster enchiladas with homemade poblano sauce, and fresh sushi made to order. Hogfish are abundant in the Keys, and it's our favorite fish. So we ordered that, even though our destination tomorrow is the Hogfish Bar and Grill. Castaway makes a great hogfish sandwich. Owner John Mirabella is also a diver, and he's on a mission to help eradicate the invasive lionfish hereabouts by spearing them and serving them to you. His King of the Jungle raw lionfish sushi roll is an amazing work of art. Castaway is a stone's throw from other waterfront saloons on our list. But on the way, let's revisit that thirsty manatee just outside the canal side door.
Extraordinary, right there. I've never been this close to a manatee.
And two. There's another one right there. Now, let's move on to Burdine's Marina right on the seaside, a 3-minute walk from Castaway. And up ahead and up overhead is Burdine's Waterfront Bar and Grill, a.k.a. the Tiki, perched up high on stilts with a view to the ocean and to Boot Key. The signs on the tables and some places on the bar say reserved, but the host, Alex, confided that they are quote, unquote, reserved for paying customers and not for the tourists just up here for the great views. So we score a fine spot at the bar where they use painted mousetraps to keep the bar bills from blowing away. The view is the star at Burdine's, but the menu boasts about the burgers, made, they proudly proclaim, from the antibiotic-free grass-fed cattle of family-owned Brasstown beef in North Carolina, and they call their cheesesteak sandwiches Keys Steak sandwiches. Boot Key, across the water, is evergreen, protected from development by federal conservation law. And hidden among the lush mangroves on Sister Creek over there is the transmitter and studios of Radio Marti, broadcasting anti-Cuban regime propaganda in Spanish to a Cuban audience since 1985. We descend from the Tiki and are on the road again for just about 2 minutes, out to the Overseas Highway and south from 15th Street to 11th Street Oceanside, which is at mile marker 47.3. A short drive down 11th Street on the right is the newest restaurant in Marathon, the Waterfront Lazy Days South. Its owner and operator is the same Chef Lupe who runs Lazy Days Isla Morada, which has won multiple People's Choice Awards for Best Restaurant in the Upper Keys. So now he's expanded south. Think upscale dining with prime steaks. You know how travel sites put dollar signs next to the names for a price comparison? So, for example, Burdine's Tiki, which we just left, would be followed by $1 sign in parentheses. So, in the parentheses for Lazy Days, add 2 more dollar signs. Oysters Rockefeller and escargot, seafood salads, catch of the day sandwiches, and conch fritters like everywhere. Great spot for vegging, and the drinks are priced right. Watch the water while sipping a $3 Isla Morada ale and a $7 pina colada. There is a direct view from Lazy Days to our next stop, our overnight destination, Isla Bella Resort. Lazy Days has a nice sunset view, but you can't see the sun actually set on the ocean because our resort is in the way, which is why we will be watching the sunset today with an unobstructed view from the beach bar at Isla Bella. Isla Bella Beach Resort is the newest luxury resort and marina in the Keys, having opened in spring of 2019. Here on Knight's Key, a stone throw from the 7 Mile Bridge, it is 2 hours from Miami and 1 hour from Key West. Surrounded by a forest of 1,000 palm trees, its beachfront is so long, about a mile, that every single room here has an ocean view. And from our balcony, we are also favored with a direct view to the beach bar. Hey, if it's right to do, it's wrong to wait. The beach bar is a lively spot this time of day and a place to dig your toes into the sand, steps from the ocean with a cocktail. You can order fresh seafood here and South Florida craft beers. Right over there on the shore, you'll find a telescope for stargazing after the sun goes down. And the sun going down is center stage here. And when it descends into the sea, you can watch from your bar stool or carry your drink to a beachfront table with nothing between you and the spectacle except ocean and seabirds. Tomorrow, Key West. Early in the morning before we head out, I walk over to the big barn of a marketplace next to the marina with the fishermen climbing aboard for a day on the ocean. Gotta say, they have everything here. I picked up some breakfast sandwiches to eat on the balcony before hitting the road. The 7 Mile Bridge is only a couple of hundred yards from the entrance to Isla Bella on Knight's Key, and we passed the Sunset Bar and Grill right below the bridge, which we visited on our last bar hopping trip down the Keys. Great spot. Not much to see now but sky and water over the 7 miles, but since it is Christmas time, we keep our eyes out for an old friend, Fred the Tree. On the ancient bridge that parallels the 7 Mile Bridge, at some point a seed sprouted, carried by wind or bird, and on the concrete span, far from land, a tree grew and flourished, named Fred by the admiring locals, who come out every Christmas season and decorate him with lights and a sign reading, "Keys Strong." If you go to Google Maps and type in Fred the Tree, Florida Keys, his exact location comes up, alongside Donna the Bush. When you spot Donna, Fred's just beyond. "45 minutes later, we descend into the lower Keys, past the Key West Naval Air Station, and enter Stock Island, home to another great dive bar off the beaten track. Entering Stock Island, you turn left at mile marker 5.1 onto 3rd Street, and then you make a few turns past dilapidated mobile homes and trailers until you arrive at the Front Street Docks and one of the best open-air bar restaurants in all the Keys, Hogfish Bar and Grill. the Hogfish Bar's slogan is "a great place if you can find it." So you may need a little assist from Google Maps. Hogfish is smack in the middle of a working fishing boat fleet, and the story goes that adjacent oceanside marina was a refuge for cocaine smugglers during the apex of the Miami Vice days. The specialty on the menu is called the Killer Hogfish Sandwich, piled high with fixins on a Cuban bun. But we had a fine hogfish sandwich yesterday, and everything with hogfish is good. So we try something else. This is what a hogfish looks like. This is what a hogfish looks like in tacos. This is what a hogfish looks like in sliders. All great. Next time I'll try the ceviche. At lunch, we shared the bar with fishermen who were awaiting a charter boat captain's call for departure. When he called, I walked with one of them 50 steps to this boat, where the fisherman said he and his pals were going to stay aboard for a trip lasting 3 straight days at sea, out by the dry Tortugas, and wherever else the skipper knows that the big fish are waiting. Next, it's a 3-minute drive back to Route 1, over the Cowkey Channel Bridge, and on to Key West.
Take the next right onto North Roosevelt.
We're heading to the Marker Hotel, and that's in the top of Old Town, right in the Key West historic seaport. We'll drop off our bags at the hotel and head out to the bars. And the Marker Hotel's location is a waterfront bar fan's dream.
Good enough.
Here's the hotel parking garage. Let's walk to the Schooner Wharf Bar, my favorite bar, on the boardwalk at Key West Bight.
This will get you going if you're still kind of lethargic after the weekend and you need to take the weekend of gear.
I wonder this time that she's gone. Wonder if she's gone.
Right beside our Schooner Wharf table, a returning fishing boat puts on a show. And so do a gang of hungry tarpons and another thirsty manatee.
Cap, your girlfriend's here. Oh, there she is. Thirsty? Thirsty, honey?
There he is, good. Oh, wow.
They're vegetarian.
Oh, man. They love the fresh water.
The replica sailing schooner America 2.0, modeled after the first winner of the America's Cup yacht race, pulls away for an afternoon cruise with a full galley, and the bar is open. Again, within direct view of our Schooner Wharf Bar dockside table base of operations. All life is the passage of time, and when we're lucky, we get to choose how to pass the time. And so we spend an unhurried and mellow passage of time here on the docks, in the presence of beer and boat drinks. You want to bank the smells and sights and sounds for when you want to bring them back in your head when you're not here on the docks, in the presence of beer and boat drinks. Then we walk around and take the obligatory Key West holiday photos. After a while, and reluctantly, we head back to the hotel because we have a jam-packed day tomorrow starting early. We do stop off at the Marker Pool Bar on the way to bed, and we also went there for breakfast a couple of mornings, and I have to include the Marker Bar among those we visited, if for no other reason than Anita calls the pina coladas there the best she's ever had. By the way, if you, like others, want to drink your breakfast, Schooner Wharf starts theirs at 7:30 in the morning.
And I'll be back with your coffee.
And if you have a small.
So now it is the next morning, and if you think of the seaport harbor as the top of the town, then we are heading to the bottom, where the southernmost point is, to visit Rhett and Scarlett, the flamingos who live at the Butterfly and Nature Conservatory on Duval. It's undeniably a zen way to kick off another day in paradise. Rhett and Scarlett do a lot of honking and dancing because it's currently mating season, and it gives them a surge of energy. There are more than 1,000 butterflies gliding around our heads here. When we exit, it's only a 2-minute walk to the southernmost point. We're just squandering time till the Greene Parrot opens not far away. The Greene Parrot is another excellent and authentic and iconic Key West dive bar. My old Greene Parrot t-shirt was getting ratty and I needed a new one. I always like to say that that's the saloon Ernest Hemingway walked past every day on his way to Sloppy Joe's, which is true. It's a Key West classic. Check the parachutes spreading out over the bar. Pool players will pick up cue sticks later, but we like to come in early before the crowd arrives. Best blues jukebox in Key West. The conch train and trolley tours come around the corner with regularity, pointing out Greene Parrot to riders who look like they would clearly rather be in here than out there. One bar that was not on our list we ended up at anyway, because one does. We had no intention of hitting Sloppy Joe's this trip, but Anita's favorite t-shirt shop is on the opposite corner, and we scored a creamy parking space that still had lots of time on the meter, so here we are. We could have walked here from the hotel, but the southernmost point is a bit of a trek, so since we had a car, we decided to use it. Sloppy Joe's is always crowded, but it's been worse, and Anita snags the last 2 stools at the bar. It is the busiest tourist trap in town, apart from the Sunset Mob at Mallory Square. But everybody feels somehow obligated to come here, and they have good drinks, everybody's in a good mood, and there's always somebody up on stage. On this day, his name is Brian Roberts, and since the last time we were here, Sloppy Joe's has lent its name to another bar at the new boutique Perry Hotel on Stock Island, not far from Hogfish Bar and Grill, where we were yesterday. They call it Sloppy Joe's Dockside, and it's between the hotel pool and the boats in the private marina in a new upscale artsy development called the Stock Island Marina Village. Brian Roberts bounces back and forth between this Sloppy Joe's and the copycat one, And he also plays at the bar at the Pier House Hotel, another great place we've stayed at, right on the ocean. While Anita saves my seat at the bar, I pop down Duval Street maybe 50 yards just to show you Irish Kevin's, a fun place we've been to before. Irish Kevin's is famous for performers insulting cruise ship refugees who are pounding back drinks before returning shipboard, and singing songs with creatively raunchy lyrics. I return to my spot at Sloppy Joe's. So, a few more beers, and it's back to the car and back to the hotel parking garage. Lunch approaches, so we pass up Schooner Wharf today and head to the bar right around the corner of the harbor, the Conch Republic Seafood Company. Another great seafood and burger place with a water view. Its bar is enormous and fills up around lunchtime and stays that way the rest of the day. Tourists sitting on the long side of the bar are puzzled by a sign that reads IITYWYBTBAR. Natural curiosity will move the bar patron to flag down a bartender and point to the sign and ask him, "What does that mean? What do those letters stand for?" To which the bartender will reply, "If I tell you, will you buy the bar around?" We've already eaten a lot of fish, so we elect to go with burgers. This is another bar where you can vegetate and watch the working boats come and go. At length, we wander back out onto the boardwalk and stroll along the docks past the Schooner Wharf and other bars we mentioned in our previous video about the saloons of the Keys. Just past the Lobster Trap Christmas tree, we arrive at another 4-star waterfront dive, the Half Shell Raw Bar. Laid back with the freshest shellfish. Oysters, mussels, a bucket of steamer clams, just like you'd get in Rhode Island. And stone crab claws are in season right now. We skip the crab claws because we can get them where we live for about $20 a pound cheaper than in Key West. But you can't beat stone crab claws. Jason is the oyster shucker, and he's clearly done this before. It's another bar on the marina that ought to be on the National Register of Historic Places. Next morning, after breakfast, we exit the pool restaurant and cut through the Schooner Wharf to wander around the marina area in the relative quiet of early morning before the crush of tourists arrive.
Wanna go see Santa? Mickey and Elmo. Wanna go see Santa? Hold them out to come here.
And then to our first stop of the day at the oldest bar and restaurant in Key West, the oldest eatery in all of the Keys, Pepe's Cafe. It's the second oldest bar restaurant in the whole state of Florida after Columbia up in Tampa. A good place to arrive at early to score a seat. There's a bench outside on the sidewalk that is usually occupied with those waiting for an opening. The bartenders are Jacob and Justin. Our oyster shucker at Half Shell was named Jason. Our server at breakfast at the hotel was named Jason. Jason, Jacob, and Justin. What is it with millennial dudes, two-syllable J names? Anyhow, it's a good people-watching bar. Unvarnished walls and booths inside, and then out here is the bar and the patio with bougainvillea providing color overhead. Somebody wrote of Pepe's that it is a place where tourists go happily, having been told it's not a place where tourists go. Then it's back for a final visit to Schooner Wharf before finding a place for the sunset. It's only a 3-minute walk from Pepe's to the wharf. Schooner Wharf's back of the bar section is a key location for a Key West murder mystery novel I wrote. The bar here and the one at Greene Parrot figure in the plot. Here it is in a nutshell. The town of Key West. A murder in a museum. Reporter Milo Bird reluctantly undertakes to discover a motive and slowly joins together puzzle pieces tracking back to the early days of sound recording and a long-forgotten connection between Key West and Thomas Edison. Milo enlists his league of drinking buddies, and together they unearth an astounding secret concealed since the time of Prohibition. They race against unknown killers to be first to unearth a hidden object that has awaited discovery for nearly a century. New from Dave McBride and Palapa Press. If you'd like to see and read more about it, go to my website at davemcbride.com and click on the book cover. Thanks for putting up with this commercial, and if you like Key West, I think you'll like this book. Now, let's get back to the bars. From Schooner Wharf, we head out to the Sunset Bar at the Galleon Resort, perched at the entrance to the Key West Bight Marina. Two of our bartenders this week, one at Half Shell Raw Bar and the other at Conch Republic Seafood Company, both touted it as a more uncrowded spot to watch the sunset than the Crush at Mallory Square. But a fact, of which both were unaware, is that the sun goes down in a different spot at different times of the year, and our bartender at the Galleon Beach Bar disclosed right up front that the sun would set out of view now in December. Jay told us the best time for sunsets here is spring, but this spot is a terrific place for views of the flotilla of party boats heading out for the sunset cruises, and so we figured that's enough of a view for us. Here's some of the passing parade of boats leaving the bight. You can also see directly across the marina entrance to the Coast Guard base. My brother and sister-in-law came here to see the sunset in a June visit, so this is what it looks like in the spring. Jay, the bartender, told the story of a tourist at the bar who once called him over and asked him, "When will the sun set in front of the island in the distance instead of behind it?" To which Jay replied that if that ever happened, everyone would be in a great deal of trouble. Nice place to chill and watch the boat people watching you. The sunset switches on the holiday lights, decorating our way back to the hotel as we walk from the Galleon Beach Bar along the harbor boardwalk. Tomorrow, we're back on the Overseas Highway northbound. We retrace our steps up the Overseas Highway. Think of Route 1 in the Keys as an elevator. It takes you down and it brings you up. And you push the buttons to stop at the floors, or the keys, where you want to get off. The floor we're getting off at today is Isla Morada. After returning to the mainland above Key Largo, Route 1 keeps on going along the east coast all the way to Fort Kent on the border between Maine and Canada. It's the longest north-south highway in the USA. If you see a curious object hovering over Cudjoe Key, say hi to Fat Albert, a 1,400-foot military blimp that floats high in the sky, tethered to the ground, collecting data on everything it sees and hears for hundreds of miles in every direction. It mainly detects drug smugglers with its high-tech electronics, courtesy your tax dollars. A few years ago, it was announced that Fat Albert would be grounded as a victim of Air Force budget cuts. Yet, here he is, overhead, surveilling us. It's our last day before crossing over to the mainland, and therefore the last stops in this video. You will probably recognize the bars from our 28 bars in 6 days trip, but we return to them because they're our faves here. We arrive first at one of the most picturesque waterfront spots in Isla Morada, Morada Bay. Morada means purple in Spanish, and so Isla Morada is Purple Island, and Morada Bay is Purple Bay. Why? Ask the Spaniards who named it, not me. Anyhow, Morada Bay is a great place to eat with your feet in the sand outside or in air-conditioned comfort inside. We had the Baja fish tacos. The name Morada Bay suggests it is on the Florida Bay side of the island, and it is, which means it's a primo spot for sunset watching. If you're lucky enough to arrive at the full moon, Morada Bay celebrates at night with bonfires, fire jugglers, junkanoo, Caribbean marchers, reggae music, and fireworks. The resident chickens are not shy. They strut like they own the place. Up the road, less than a mile and a 3-minute drive from Morada Bay, is the bar where I shot the opening of this video, Lorelei, which continues to be a destination hugely popular with both the tourists and the locals. It's famous for its giant mermaid sign you really can't miss, standing out on US 1. 5 days ago, bartender Chris posed here with Anita, and so Anita was tickled to run into her again today. The slogan of Lorelei is the pulse of Isla Morada. It's rated high for seafood and is a prime destination for sunsets. Lorelei posts the precise time of sunset each day on its website. I'll appear in another cameo in a minute after some images of our arrival at our stop for the night. Dave here again. Our last stop for an overnight before we head up to the mainland is here at Cheeca Lodge, an iconic resort on Isla Morada. It was fixed up even better after it got walloped by Hurricane Irma a couple of years ago. It's close by, a handful of more great waterfront saloons just a couple of minutes from here. And like on our first trip, we only had time in these 6 days to hang at a fraction of the Instagram and Facebook worthy saloons within a stone's throw of each other all the way up and down the Keys. If you like this video, please subscribe and check out our other video called 28 Florida Keys Bars in 6 Days. Isla Morada, the town, includes 5 islands in the Keys, halfway between Key West and Miami. One of them is Upper Matacumbe Key, and Cheeca Lodge is smack in the middle of that one. Matacumbe was wiped clean by a famous unnamed hurricane in 1935, which destroyed the Overseas Railroad and killed more than 300 workers, whose rescue train arrived late and was swept into the sea by the storm surge. The only thing left standing when the hurricane departed was this angel monument at the grave of a young girl in a settler's graveyard right on the shore. This cemetery survives today on the grounds of Cheeca Lodge, within feet of where I was standing. Cheeca Lodge has twin, large, palapa-style, thatched-roof tiki bars beside two oceanfront pools, both with sweeping water views. The tiki bar between the two pools is called 25 South, and it is open 11 to sunset. I asked, "Why do you call it 25 South?" And the person I asked didn't know, so they checked with somebody else, who said it referred to the latitude. But I checked Google Maps, and the tiki bar is approximately 25 north latitude, not south. 25 south would be somewhere on the coast of Chile, south of Bolivia. So go figure. The other tiki bar next to the main building is called the Tiki Bar and is open from 11 to 11 with great views toward the long pier and the Atlantic. You don't have to stay at Cheeca to have fun at the tiki bars and the restaurants. When the sun goes down, the holiday lights come on, inviting us to the elegant lobby bar, our final bar in the Keys. Even though this video is titled 20 More Florida Keys Bars in 6 Days, we accomplished all these Keys bars in 5 days. Our trip lasted 6, but we visited a great bar we like called Monty's Raw Bar on the marina in Coconut Grove just south of Miami. And so we technically bar hopped for 6 days, but because Monty's is on the mainland, it is disqualified. Sorry, Monty's. We're already planning our next trip, and for the many commenters who have griped about our having overlooked No Name Pub on Big Pine Key in our previous 28 Bars video, and who will surely gripe because we skipped it again, I am adding it now as a bonus bar with a screen grab from Google Maps. We have been to No Name, and it's a fun bar. Good pizza. The ceiling is covered in tens of thousands of dollars in signed singles. It's off the beaten track, just short of the bridge to No Name Key. But compared to the expansive waterfront views of many of the others, I think part of No Name's allure derives from it being hard to find. We just ran out of time this time and crossed Big Pine without stopping. But hey, if you have time for a detour, about 7 minutes off US 1 to No Name on Big Pine Key, if you're heading down or up the Keys, it's another popular and legendary Old Keys bar to check off your list. I'd be much obliged should you subscribe to this YouTube channel, and also if you would visit davemcbride.com to find out about my Key West murder mystery with a history, lock, stock, and peril. Adios till our next bar hopping trip down the Keys. Cheeca Lodge is on the ocean side instead of the bay side of Isla Morada, and so our final last great view before leaving the Keys is of the sunrise, not the sunset.